Well, we are back for another round of this this wonderful beer tasting project thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
Two veterans, one cup. Well, you know, whatever we end up choosing to call it, which we haven't settled on a name yet, so I'm still open to suggestions. We are here for something that is near and dear to my heart. I found most recently on a trip back to the Dallas area that there's a brewery now, like just a couple miles as the crow flies from a Victorian that I helped remodel. If I have to just kind of blindly guess, I think it was about 13 to 14 years ago. Laws governing the amount of the batch size that you needed to get the higher levels of licensing. Like, you have to be licensed for, like, if you're going to do a brew that's 500,000 gallons, which is like a pittance for, like, the big breweries like Budweiser or, you know, something like that, you'd have to pay, you know, $500,000. These are just hypothetical, just stating this is the way it kind of works. Well, now they've reduced it down to, okay, you can do batches of like 1,000 gallons, which is easily doable in a small brewery.
Yeah.
And because that would take up a brew tower, like 1,000 gallons would be like,
I think that's
not even like half of its room.
I think one brew tower, those tend to be right around 6 feet by 6 feet for your base size, but they tend to stretch up, I think, 12, 13 feet.
Yeah, they're pretty tall. I mean, I can see them in my head. I just can't adequately explain it. But
a restaurant I used to go to in Washington had, it was and I'm going to throw out a name here, go ahead and edit it out later if you want, Silver City Eatery. And brewery was the ending of the name, and they had an on-site brewery that was actually functional.
Okay, that's cool.
Later, their productions got big enough that they moved off-site for their brewing, but they still had their whole little demo of their towers and stuff.
Well, let's take a look at what we got here. If you want to do the honors.
The Temptress Imperial Milk Stout. Ale brewed with lactose, sugar, and vanilla. Gotta say this is gonna be a first one for me, for lactose sugars being in my beer. So this will be a little awkward. This particular company, Lakewood Brewing Co., did a wonderful job with the informational on the side of the bottle and on the side of the box there. It tells you the glass, the room temperature, or not room temperature, excuse me, the temperature for your drink, all right there on the side of the glass. You don't have to guess. So that's going to make it a little bit easier for us to give it a fair rating. This is a 9.1% alcohol.
Yes.
56 IBU, so that's right around the same range that we've been tending to get for the IBU range, so it's not going to be super bitter. The SRM, it's a 33. I believe the last one we drank that had the SRM on the side was 11.
Yes.
So this is going to be really dark, if you guys remember what that one looked like. Or this one's going to be a lot darker than what that was. There's a new set of numbers on here that Hef had asked me about, which is the OG. Not Original Gangster. You know someone wants to say that. Without doing any research right now off the top of my head, I believe they were referencing Original Gravity, which is the density in relationships to water for the sugar contents of your original worst. And this is sitting at 1.091. And that kind of, what that'll end up doing is kind of tell you how much alcohol content will end up being brewed or come out during your brew. It's also going to give you a relative sweetness factor, like tell you how sweet your brew is going to end up being. So it's just all little factors that you can take into account. So with a 1.09, a little sweeter than some.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
On the side of the box, they even went so far as to tell us what it's best paired with. And according to the box, it's blue cheese, dark chocolate, and my favorite, sin.
It says sin. One of the things that attracted it to me. Let's see. Well, last but not least, this beer is out of Garland, Texas, which is right next to Dallas, if y'all aren't familiar. And I'm Hef, he's Crispy, and let's fucking get into it.
Aw, so close. Kind of got a heavy malt scent out of the bottle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that malt continues all the way through. That is very dark. Not like Guinness dark, but...
Yeah, not as dark as, I believe, that one we had last episode, or the 1050. Oh my god, those were dark.
Yes. Well, yeah, those are more like pouring ink, per se. But...
Used motor oil and thickness.
Yeah. It's not hugely present in the bottle. Like, you don't get that first sense of sweetness to it. And there isn't like a tackiness to it that was akin to the brew that we did last.
Yeah.
That it was very tacky. Like anywhere that it would dry, you would really kind of like stick to it. This is not. It's like half that.
Out of the glass, I'm catching a lot of the vanilla. I catch the malts. It's nice and sweet, but I'm getting a lot of the vanilla that's lingered for a little bit on the latter portion of it. It's bittering out as it sits on the palate, but
it's definitely the molasses portion that is right there in front.
Yeah,
is very much leads into that hump of caramel before it starts going bitter. I'm not really getting chocolate out of this though.
I'm not getting chocolate, and I'm not getting coffee. I mean, the chocolate bitter's a little bit there, but I think it's getting fairly well masked from the vanilla that they put in it. I wonder if they used actual vanilla beans or vanilla extract.
Right. It was exactly, as soon as you said that, I was like, because it really doesn't taste like vanilla bean. It really does go more towards an extract. In the fact that there's no hint of sugar attached to any of the chemicals that carry the vanilla. It's definitely like, you know how extract itself is just terrifyingly bitter.
Get you fucked up though if you try and drink it.
Oh well, I wouldn't know. I remember as a little kid, I got a hold of some vanilla. This was my favorite. I had the vanilla extract, a little tiny bottle. I was like, tried a little bit. It was like, this is not. Everything tasted like vanilla for like an hour.
Well,
but it wasn't sweet.
Yeah. Well, for those that don't know, the vanilla extract is usually you take your vanilla bean and you slice it down lengthwise in a couple spots, and then you stick it in, if you want to make your own at home, in like Grey Goose vodka, and you just let it sit there forever. More facts. We're sciencing the shit out of this episode. And you will pull a lot of your flavors and get your own essentially vanilla extract. So if you want to get
so you basically steep it in alcohol and then reduce all the hard parts out of it, then reduce it.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you ever want to make your own.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean,
yeah, the oils from the vanilla bean are essentially what you're just trying to strip out, and alcohol does wonders for stripping oils out.
Renders it into solution.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it fun?
If anybody is ever interested in chemistry, I would suggest going over and taking a look at Cody's lab. It is said exactly like it's typed exactly like I said, Cody's lab. Great guy. Guy's an absolute genius with chemistry.
He'll show you step by step exactly how it's done, and then go into explaining how it's done. If you're someone trying to take a material science class, he will teach you exactly why it works. So I just had my first sip out of the bottle.
Oh, out of the bottle, yes.
Yeah, I've been drinking out of the glass just fine. Nice out of the glass. Out of the bottle, it's a little bit, because it's not getting the aeration that I feel it really needs. It's a little bit more bitter in the glass, but I've been noticing that with 90% of the beers that once we've started drinking out of the glass, that they are a little bit more easier to get the other flavors across your palate. That bitter usually comes through strong on a bottle.
I'm getting much more of the vanilla and the sweet notes. Absolutely. Oh man, a lot more highlight on the caramel.
Yeah, delicious out of the glass. I'm not noticing a huge effect for having the lactose sugars.
Yeah, if they hadn't have said lactose on the box, I would have
Completely missed it.
Yeah, I would have just said, "Oh, it's an Imperial Stout."
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a subtlety that we're just not reaching yet, but
Maybe we need 2 Imperial Stouts side by side with this one as being one of them, and going, hey, this is what a normal Imperial Stout tastes like, and this is what one tastes like with milk sugars. Now, it does specify that it is brewed with lactose sugars, which makes me think that there's not actually a whole lot of milk itself in the brewing process.
yeah, I don't know exactly. It might be one of those things that I add later in a sentence, but I'm not actually sure what defines a lactose sugar as opposed to, is that a sugar that is derived only from lactose that is typically found in like dairy products? Like, so it's a animal byproduct sugar?
Could be. I mean, have you ever had condensed milk?
Not off the top of my head.
Oh, it's delicious. It's really sweet.
Is there anything that you'd like to say about the beer that is not beer related?
I liked the bottle itself on the informational. It gave me an idea of what it's going to taste like pretty well, just because I know how to read the side of the bottle. I like the fact that they put that on there and it made it simple.
Okay.
I was able to read it at a fairly entry-level person's ability and be able to tell you exactly what I was going to get.
All right, final out it is. Question number 1. Would you buy this beer? And if you knew it was on a shelf nearby, would you go out of your way to get it?
Yeah, actually I would buy this one just because it's good. It's got a good flavor profile. It tells you what you're going to get when you get it. If I ever forget what it is that I've had, or because you always remember like, oh, I've had that and it was good, but I don't remember what it tasted like. I can always go back to this one and go, that's what that one was. That was the flavor of that one. So yeah, I would definitely be willing to go to a store and go a little bit out of my way. Probably a good 30 minutes out of my way, if it was within that mileage.
All right, question number 2. Would you use this beer to illustrate your opinion of beers or your taste in beers?
Yeah, I think I could pull this one off into the realm of distinguishing myself to a newer drinker, or even a slightly more experienced one, because this is going to be one of those ones harder to get, just because it's a small brewery.
True. Statistically, they're not going to have an already established baseline
of that beer.
Yeah. This definitely could be a good 7th chamber and 6th gun.
Mm-hmm.
And question number 3: would you take this to a group setting, and or would you sell it at your establishment?
Yeah, I would bring this to a group setting, but again, a small one. A couple of reasons. One, I don't know the price. You picked it up.
It wasn't memorable enough to note.
But it is a small brew company. So that would make me gun shy on bringing it to a large party. Just for the fact of it's harder to get.
Yeah.
I'm not just dedicating an hour to go get this. I'm dedicating hours to go and get this. If I'm going to be drinking this and if I'm going to be sharing it, I'm sharing it with a select group of people.
Okay. That's fair. Establishment.
I would say yes if they're doing not the one-time drops. And I'm fine with selling and appreciative of selling microbrews if I were to have my own establishment.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's our final out. Any last words for this company or this beer?
They did a good job. I hope that we get a chance further on down the road to try more of their product. My alcohol and my beer.
That's fair. All right. Lakewood Brewing, Temptress. Good fucking job, dude.
Yeah.
Very solid. Cheers.
Cheers.